All right, so how's everybody doing this morning? Jonathan from Jon Ford Woodworks here, and I got a new toy for the shop, so I thought I would show it to y'all and do a quick review after having been using it for a little while now, and maybe just a quick overview of what a joiner does, because in case y'all didn't know, that's what this happens to be, is a big ass joiner. But before I start, down here in the New Orleans area, it's been in the 20s for days and it's freezing. So usually when it's that cold down here, it's really cold everywhere else. So I hope everybody's staying warm, because I'm not. It's freezing in here. But I digress. So this is the Powermatic 1610084K. It is their 8-inch, 2 horsepower jointer. This particular model has the straight knife cutter heads. They have a model that is exactly the same that comes with helical cutter heads. I guess with all the production issues going on right now in supply chain woes, I couldn't find the one with the helical head cutters, so just went on ahead and got this one, and I'll upgrade the cutter heads at some point. Couple specs on this guy, just real quick. Maximum depth of cut is a 1/2 inch. I don't know why anybody would want to do that, but I guess if you wanted to give that a go, you could. I've pretty much kept it where it came from the factory, right about at a 32nd of an inch, and just take small passes. Much easier on the machine, and produces finer cuts in doing so. Let's see here. The total length of the table is 73 inches, and then width-wise is 8.5. So this particular joiner can face joint a board up to about 8 inches wide. It's pretty loud. According to the manual, the decibels get up to about 93, so that's pretty loud, and it is loud. I'll turn it on for y'all in a second, just so y'all can hear it, because it does hum pretty loudly. What else can I tell you? It's heavy. If you're looking to buy a planer, a joiner of this size, take into consideration how much it weighs and how you're going to maneuver it around. This particular joiner came in 2 pieces. The base came in 1 box, and then the entire top joiner assembly came already put together, by and large, in 1 giant box, about the size of a coffin. And it weighed about 363 pounds. So it's not easy to move, especially if you're going to try to do it by yourself. It'd be impossible unless you had like a hoist. So definitely get you a buddy if you're going to go pick one of these up or have it delivered to you. Once you get it out the box and up on the stand, though, it goes together pretty easy. It pretty much comes from the factory, mostly put together. Aside from like the blade guard, a few knobs. I had to install the belt drive, but everything is pretty straightforward putting it together. It came from the factory. This particular one, I did not have to adjust a thing. The outfeed side of the table was perfectly in line with the cutters, and the infeed side was about a 32nd of an inch lower, which is where I would have set it anyway. So I have not had to change the settings at all. But you can if you want to. Underneath there is the knob for adjusting the outfeed side, and then over here you've got your 2 adjusters to raise or lower the infeed side. And of course they tell you, they have a gauge that lets you know where you have it set at. You can also adjust the fence, move the fence in or out, and you can also adjust the angle of it. It can go from 45 degrees to 90. Most of the time, I mean, most people, you know, if you're buying a joiner, you're probably getting it to joint boards and square them, so you're probably not going to move your fence much, but you do have that option. And it also, of course, as most joiners do, has the added feature of being able to cut rabbets or rebates, whichever way you prefer to call it. But again, chances are you're probably not going to use this tool for that purpose. If you're watching this video because you're just trying to learn why you might want a joiner or what a joiner even does, that's its primary function. Primary function of the joiner is to joint boards. And basically all you're going to do with it is two operations. You're going to face joint one face of your lumber, and then once you have that face flat, you're going to use that as a reference on your fence to square up an edge. And then once you have one flat face and one square edge, you can use those two sides of your piece of lumber to reference all of your subsequent measurements and cuts from. One thing to note, it seems like it would make sense to joint one face, joint the other face, joint one edge, joint the other edge, but you don't actually really want to do that, because in doing so you might actually throw your wood out of parallel, or it will end up with wood that is not parallel. So again, with a joiner, you joint one face, get that flat, use that flat face as a reference against the fence to joint your edge, and then you have a flat face, an edge that's also flat and square to that face, and then you would take it to your planer to flatten the other face, and then of course just use the edge that you squared up on your table saw or whatever to square up the other edge. And in doing it that way, you ensure that your edges as well as your faces are all parallel to the other side. Hope that makes sense. Should turn it on. So I will attempt, when I am editing this video, to lower the sound a little bit, but just a disclaimer that when I turn it on, it's loud, and I may epically fail at making it less loud while I'm editing, so just know I'm about to turn it on for you. And just so we can see the cutter heads move, I will move the guard out of the way. But just a quick word on safety. Like most tools in a woodworking shop, it can be extremely dangerous and can take your whole hand or fingers off really quickly. So use extreme caution when using it. Use push sticks. This particular saw actually came with two. They even magnetized to the machine, so you can't really beat that. But yeah, just be careful when running wood through this. Use push sticks. Keep your fingers well away from the cutters. Use the guard, and just be extremely careful. So I am going to kick it on, but I will move the guard out of the way just so we can watch it spin. And just know that that's not something I would normally do, and I'm only doing it just so we can check it out. So anyway, it's loud, so you might want to turn your sound down just in case I again fail at video editing. So yeah, here we go. So, and as you can see, this one has a super cool button in the middle, start, stop, and of course you got a key that you can take out in case you want to ensure that nobody, like little kids or whoever, can accidentally turn it on. So we'll fire it up. All right, and yeah, so there it is, the Powermatic 8-inch jointer. Man, it's cold in here. All right, so I knew that was a pretty quick glaze over of this machine, as well as like a really quick what's a joiner do 101. But if there's anything that I didn't mention about this machine that anybody's curious about, or want me to go into more depth in more depth about this machine, or just using a joiner in general, I'd be glad to do it. Just send me a comment, or let me know what you might be interested in. And yeah, other than that, I hope everybody stays warm and safe. Like and subscribe to the video if you would be so kind. And until next time, I appreciate it. Thanks again. It's Jonathan. Bye.